After a ride in Bend, Brian and I stopped in Portland for as much food as we could eat in a couple of hours. We need the calories as the next morning we were riding in Washington on yet another IMBA epic called Ape Canyon. This trail rides along Mount St. Helens, infamous for its destructive eruption in 1980. The volcano left a mile-wide crater in the mountain and reduced its summit elevation by over 1,000 feet. It continued to erupt from 2004 to 2008, creating lava domes in its crater taller than the Empire State Building. The trail starts in the forest and quickly gains a lot of elevation with relentless switchbacks. The vistas made nice spots to take a break and built anticipation for what we were about to see.
Whoa! Gotta stop for that view.
Leaving the cover of the forest, we arrived at Ape Canyon. In the distance was Mount Adams, and behind us, looking very close, Mount St. Helens. Ape Canyon gets its name from the folklore of Bigfoot. Miners were in the canyon in the 1920s and thought they saw 8 men throwing rocks and attempting to attack them. Whether Bigfoot is indeed roaming the canyon floor or not, the surrounding area certainly has taken advantage of the opportunity to grow its tourism. Mountain biking the trail at the top of Ape Canyon is not advisable, as walking it is scary enough. The path is only about 2 feet wide at its narrowest point and comprised of loose volcanic soil. You could. The majority of the ride was on the Plains of Abraham, a volcanic desert with a path down the middle. This is not the side of the mountain with the crater in it, but the destruction was still clear. Some trees were lucky enough to be on the other side of the hill, while others were still snapped in half like toothpicks from the event 40 years ago.
You can see that hill shielded some of those trees from the blast. Yep.
Mount St. Helens remains a great spot for scientists to study Earth's response to catastrophe. The nutrient-rich soil and lack of tree cover has allowed wildflowers to flourish. This section was full of purple penstemons and Indian paintbrush. Riding down the surface of this trail was like biking on the moon. Used too much back brake and the rear end was sure to slide out. Pretty much the opposite amount of traction as slick rock in Moab. After riding bench cut along the side of the mountain, we arrived at my favorite part of the trail, a ridge with steep drop-offs on either side, wildflowers everywhere, and Mount Rainier sitting in the distance. This was quite an experience to take in. At a certain point after the ridge, you'll come across a ladder. This is where I suggest turning around to make the ride an out and back.
That was the most epic thing in the entire trip. That was insane. Trip? Yeah, it was a trip.
Now about that section across Ape Canyon that I said wasn't worth trying. Well, I figured riding down the ledge in the other direction would be less sketchy. I still don't advise it. Returning to the forest, the switchbacks that made the climb rather difficult now rewarded us with a fast descent. Nothing like the ecosystem we just left. Going fast past all of these large trees made me feel like I was in the Battle of Endor. While this ride wasn't necessarily the greatest mountain bike trail, the views, geology, and diversity couldn't be matched. There are still 2 more locations to ride in Washington, so consider subscribing to be notified when those videos are released, and click on the Ultimate United States Mountain Bike Road Trip playlist to get caught up on what we rode previously. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.